All right, so let's continue building this drone. All solder points are connected right here. And now the point is to get the power module connected to the board right here. And I disconnected the two wires that way too much, but we still need to have a connection to the battery, and this is basically a female input for the battery, plugs into the battery. So we need this module to accept the battery, and since the battery gonna be right there on the bottom, I'm gonna be running this cable to the bottom and this cable to the bottom, and at the end of those cables there's gonna be this connector, and on the connector it says plus is this side, so red should it be here, plus right there. The flat side is the plus, and this side right here is the minus. So black is here and red is here, and I'll show you how to make this connection properly. And on the other end, you'll have to connect those two wires to here, and those two little wires, one of them gonna go from the board to the board, so from this board to the plus, and from the bottom of the board to the minus. And so that way you're gonna have a connection from your battery going to the motherboard. So, or I could put the battery here, the power module here, but I think it's gonna be a bunch of other stuff connected to this end, or maybe this is good. This could be a good idea to shove it here. But the thing is, when you have a quad like that, you still want to shove something on this plate right here. I mean, there's always something that's gonna come up. So I want to put this power module inside, and I hope it's gonna have enough space there to fit under this umbrella. So let's start soldering. Now my advice to you is this. This guy is really easy to solder if you have one of those Mr. Jig, it's called. So that's gonna simplify your life by a lot. So it's been a while since I've been using it, but here, like that. So, and the goal is to do this. You see that the wire itself is too, how would I say it, too thin. So what you want to do is you want to make it slightly longer, like that, long. Okay, and let's do the same thing here. So about similar length. So like that. All right. I forgot to turn on the soldering iron, so it's gonna take a minute to heat up. So again, this is a plus and this is a minus. So the goal is to twist the cable like that. Twist the cable like that. Shove it in there like that. And then put a whole bunch of flux in there and then solder on top. Also, what you can do is you can pre-tin one end, pre-tin the other end, and while melting that hole right there, you could shove this guy in there into the melting pot, and it's gonna kick in. So basically, what you can do is you could put a whole bunch of solder inside. You can put some solder on this cable, shove those guys together, and heat this portion and shove these guys together, and you're gonna have a solder point. Only problem with that method is that, again, there's no problem with that, but this piece, the metal piece, sits inside of the plastic. So when you're gonna keep melting this portion while trying to shove this guy in there, the plastic that holds that metal, this metal portion, is gonna become soft and weak, and it's gonna melt a little bit. So the connection is not gonna be as strong on the plastic side, or basically where the plastic holds the pin. So that can cause issues, might cause issues in the future. I'm not sure if it can, but I mean, everything can, but it might cause issues in the future for you. So here. Okay, so when I do this, oh, basically I bend the cable right here. Let's see if I could zoom it properly. Okay, so I bend the cable right here so that it will fill the entire hole inside here. Again, this is 16 gauge wire because we're going to be using 3S battery. For a 4S battery, you're probably going to go a bit larger. Well, but for this build, the 16 gauge wiring is more than enough. Oh, hold on one second. I think it's going to go like the other way around, like that. Because this is a minus and the flat side is a plus right here, like that. Okay, and the other two ends, this end and that end, gonna go to the power module. And then you would say, why didn't I just leave this guy on? First of all, for me it's kind of too short, because if I would put it here, I would always have a trouble to connect them together. Like, for example, on this drone right here, the whole thing is kind of short, and I have to have extensions on each battery to run the cable towards the battery port. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a instead of cables like this short, I'm putting cables longer, but the thing is those are much thicker cables compared to this one. And the thing is, the thicker cables are needed in case this is a much more amp drawing drone. So, but since this is like 80 amp drone, we're gonna be just fine with those 16 gauge wiring, and they're much more lightweight than those two wires. Again, I'm just tired of having small flying times, and that's the reason why this drone went through about 5 different landing gears. All the landing gears you could look at raspberrydrone.com, and you could see every single different landing gear I used on it. And eventually I just got rid of the landing gear because weight is really important, and another 100-200 grams on the landing gear gonna make a huge difference in the way it flies. I mean, if you never flew before, I could pretty much tell you that getting rid of the landing gear is really important. Well, not, I mean, if you have enough space for a landing gear, great, use it. But if your drone can't lift that much, don't bother with it. So on this end, this is where another flux comes in. This flux right here. So what you want to do is you want to use some flux on the wire, and like that. So what I want to do, I want to rotate this wire inside there so that everything would be fluxed together. And now that we used flux and now the soldering iron is heated up, we can pretty much solder this connection up. Let me zoom it in. Okay. All right. Turn on the exhaust. And let's add some solder. right, and one more thing is we need to add some heat shrink to this end. So we add, let me see if I got any heat shrink laying around, which I should have. Here we go. Just like that. Just like that. So until we solder the other end, we need to, before we're gonna solder the other end, we need to add some heat shrink at the end right here, and right here. Okay, like that. And all right. So you don't want the portions to be exposed, the plus and the minuses. Otherwise, when you're gonna be pulling on it, you can pretty much short your fingers and get some electrocutions there. One other thing is, like if you look at this drone right here, this end has more heat shrink right here, because you're always going to be grabbing right here, gonna be grabbing, and as you can see, that heat shrink doesn't cover everything 100%, so you might still get electrocuted a little bit from this power. So we need to get a bigger heat shrink. All right, and the bigger heat shrink. Let's see, heat shrink. Okay, so let's see if this one is big enough to get on top of this. Yeah, should be right. So I need to just spread it a little bit in order for it to fit. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if anybody ever spread the heat shrink, but here I'm gonna be the first one. So here, I mean, I got every single type of heat shrink. It just I don't want to go into the garage and look for it while the video is rolling. So this is basically gonna go to the battery like that. So you can pretty much cover the entire groove of it in heat shrink, and that won't be a bad solution for the connector. Okay, so that's how the connector for the battery should look like. Basically, there is no way you're gonna electrocute yourself using this connector, unless obviously it gets worn eventually with time. And basically, this should be the plus, the flat side should be a plus, and the pointy side should be minus. So this is black and this is red, like that. Okay, so we're almost done with soldering. So all we need to do is just solder those cables to this port right here, and so I'm just gonna bend it slightly here like that. Just more surface area for the soldering. By the way, each one of those points right here, you could use a liquid tape like that for sale at Menards, at Walmart. Just pour a little bit on it on top, and the cable will, first of all, it's gonna be stronger. It's gonna be basically the solder joint won't be as flexible because the tape gonna be holding it on top because it's gonna be liquid tape. Don't use the regular tape. It's here someplace. I cleaned my desk nicely for this video, so I removed all the stuff. Here's the tape. Don't use that tape ever because stuff can always peel off and get in your prop and you can pretty much crash. So forget about using a regular tape. That's my advice to you. Use the liquid tape. Basically just brush on. Again, I have an open bottle someplace to show you, but I'm not going to be doing it on this quad yet because I need to add a whole bunch of extra stuff to the pluses and minuses. Sometimes I use those ports for other electronics, so I can't really add the tape, the liquid tape right now. I mean, if you're not going to be building super extreme stuff, this is probably just brush on a little bit tape, brush on tape on it, and you're going to be golden. So yeah, we don't need that. By the way, this is a good rig to solder this stuff right here. What you do is you just insert it that way, a bullet connector this way, all right, and you just put it like that, and it keeps it in place while you're soldering. So Mr. Jig is a really good stuff. Yeah, it's made of aluminum and does heat up, but who cares? I mean, it does the job, so that's that. All right. So again, we need to solder the plus to this end, in, minus to out. Another minus goes here, and this minus gonna go to the minus on the board, and the plus gonna go to the plus on the board. So let's get it done, and that's pretty much gonna be all for soldering. You don't really need to solder anything else. Well, you do if you wanna do on-screen display. That kind of requires soldering and programming. Also, what else you need to solder? Well, ow, blood. Okay, let me pause. All right, so let's finish. Bandit is on. So there's several ways to power up this PixHawk. One is the way how most of you are gonna power it up is by power cable from here to here. Okay, so I had to manufacture this power cable right now out of whatever I could find, because the cable that came with this power board is installed on this one, because this one is the original one got damaged in the fire. So this is this cable. You could make it at home, it's no big deal, but you could buy it on eBay for about $10. Or just buy the whole board with the cable. It always comes with the cable. So cheaper to buy the power module version 1 board. So yeah. By the way, it's not only plus and the minus. There is also transmit, receive, etc. So there is a plus and a minus here, but there's a whole bunch of other information going to the PixHawk with all the information that you want the PixHawk to know. Now, another thing is, if this cable gets ruined, you want to power up the PixHawk through one of those ports right here. And one of the way you power it up is if you have a non-APTA electronic speed controllers. Those are APTAs, so they're not going to power up anything on this board whatsoever. So in case during the flight this power right here goes dead, you can always power it up through one of those ports here while it's running from one of those cables if you have a non-APTA ACs. But those are APTA ACs, so they are missing the positive cable in the middle here. So that's that. And the way how there's also a third way how you can power it up is through the USB port right here. Basically have a 5 voltage coming into here directly. So 1, 2, 3. But there is one more way to power it up, and that is this. Let me show you if I'm gonna find it on this table someplace. Here. This is a Smart LiPo, it's called, and it looks something like that. It has a small battery on it, and it's 250 milliamps LiPo battery. Now this battery plugs directly into the back port, one of those empty ports right here, and what it does is it keeps charging itself from the board during the flight, or you could charge it. Obviously, it's better if you just charge it on a bench at the charger. And what it does later on is, in case you crash, in case the battery falls out. By the way, don't laugh. The battery falls out of the drone all the time. It happened to me like 3 or 4 times because the surfaces, for example, on this drone, the battery fell out because this strap became loose and it came out. So I have 2 straps, one here, one in the middle. But sometimes you just don't have enough time. Sometimes it's really cold outside, so you just strap it really loose, and the batteries fell out, and the drone gonna be pretty much crashing all the time if the battery falls out, if the battery gets disconnected. And if that happens, if the battery falls out, why do you still need the power going to this guy? Here's why. You need the power going to this guy so that you could activate the buzzer. The buzzer that's working on the channel 9, in my case, this buzzer right here. So the way where this one buzzer gonna get the voltage from, it's actually gonna get the voltage from this in case the battery falls out of the drone. So if it lands in the field, it's really hard to find the drone in the field. All right, so enough talking. Let me just finish this soldering portion of this build. I always complain that people on YouTube talk too much, and I see why. Because I mean, we always have something to say that we think is important, but maybe nobody really cares. So let's solder this end here. All right, we're gonna just put a post-it note here. Post-it note like that. Okay, I just want a level surface. So yeah, like that. We're gonna hold it like that, and we need this positive end to be right here. All right, so let's see how I want to put it on this board. So if this is in, and I'm gonna put it like that, So yeah, it can go at a slight angle. So here we go. Okay, so this is in. Oops. Some extra wiring here. I just don't want to short anything later on. So this is in. Let's press it like that. I needed to press down while I'm soldering. So let's see. Okay. All right. Right, so we got liquid tape, and liquid tape we are taping every single point like that. All right, so while the board is drying up, we need to secure the board is out on the street because it smells from the liquid how you call it, tape, and you don't want to inhale the liquid tape smell from the liquid tape because it kills the surfactant in your lungs. And once the surfactant gets killed, you probably need to eat a whale or two in order to restore a surfactant in your lungs. And to eat a whale, you actually have to go to Japan, because Japan is the place where they kill whales so that people could get their surfactant restored, because I mean, you know, Japan is basically small piece of land, industrial, too much pollution from Toyota, Mitsubishi, Honda, Suzuki, Fuji, whatever, Hyundai, whatever. No, Hyundai is Korean, but I'm sure there are a bunch of factories in Japan. So yeah, don't inhale the liquid tape, don't inhale the solder, because it's gonna kill your surfactant in your lungs, and surfactant is really expensive to restore. And for most people, it doesn't really restore. And basically, surfactant is like is the oil in the engine. So it's a lubricating mass for. It basically lubricates your lungs so that they won't stick together. So that's the reason why you want to be really careful with smelling all this stuff. So all the chemicals, all pollutants, all the chemicals kill the surfactant, and it's really bad for your health. But nobody cares really. I mean, we live in the big cities, and for example, in Chicago, when you open up the body of that person, you could see basically black lungs, and black lungs basically means the person was living in Chicago and died probably because of the Chicago weather, horrible weather in Chicago, or because of the pollution. Two simple things, or maybe because of the radiation, because we got 28 nuclear power reactors in one state of Illinois, and all of them ventilate the radiation into the atmosphere. Nobody really cares about reporting that to people. So yeah, okay. So finally found. So the size of the bit is called the CR-V 2.0. CR-V 2.0. And basically, before we're gonna mount anything, I always use Loctite. The problem with Loctite thread locker, it's also kills your surfactant in your lungs. So it's better for you to again use one of the exhausts, but so yeah, it's gonna be a bit noisy. So. All right, so I just wanted to say that it's M37 are the screws that you're going to be using to put in this. And one thing to remember is you want this, it's going to be like this way, like that. So these wires have to be hanging this way, and these wires have to be hanging that way, not like that. Yeah, don't do something like that, because when you're going to have a camera here, those wires are going to be in the camera view. So there's really no other way to put this particular motor, but the best thing to do is to have those wires running here in the back, straight towards the back and under. Yeah, so back and under is the best way to make the wires to go. So yeah, again, pretty much all the soldering part is done. So all we have to do is basically mount the motors, connect them all together. It's like Lego. I mean, there is nothing special left now to do. Mount the motors, connect the legs, and connect the controller, connect the receiver. The how to choose GPS I will show you later, and I talked about it in my previous videos. Basically, there's different GPS systems, and different GPS systems are different quality. The GPS system you're looking for is M8N. M8N. I bought about 6 different M8N chips, and only one of them was working fine, because a couple of others were not M8N. They had a sticker M8N, but they were not M8N chips. I know that for sure because they are a prior model. I know how the chip looks like. So, um, so be careful as what you're gonna buy on eBay or online someplace, because most of the stuff are a knockoff. So your best bets in the United States are basically Hobby King or a Banggood, but Banggood takes forever to ship. They ship out of California, and I'm in Chicago, so it takes forever. And even sometimes they say they ship, but out of the United States, the package takes months to arrive. So, yeah, so Hobby King is the way to go, 100%. So, okay. I would like them to go under, but I think I'm gonna be breaking them. Yeah. So yeah, let's make sure they're gonna go under. So again, like that. Okay. Wow. This is the first time in my life where I see an extra screw added just in case you're gonna lose one of the screws or in case one of the heads gonna be ripped off. So yeah, don't over tighten anything here, just tighten it well enough so that everything would be held in place well. Okay, and don't put too much thread lock because that hole where you mount it to, it's kind of a see-through hole. I mean, it goes all the way in, and extra thread lock can get into the bearing, and the engine gonna be spinning much slower because of the thread lock being there. So don't overdo on thread lock. Just use enough so that the thread would hold well. So yeah, like that, and like that. And like that. Okay. Now you don't want them to be loose because so much vibrations, the screw starts to fall out. Now you will see that this particular engine I mounted exactly the same way as this end, but this is going to be back, so I don't really care which way the cables are pointing to. But another thing is the arms, those arms are made slightly imperfect, and those cables are bent less if I put this motor to this side for some reason than to this side. This side is slightly upwards than this side. I mean, I'm looking at it, and it's kind of like this has more plastic coming up than this portion. My understanding, this side is made so that the wires would go through the hole and down here, through the hole and down here, and this side is made so that the wires would be to the top. So, but again, this is the back, and we don't really care in the back which way the wires are facing, really. So yeah. Now, hopefully, there is going to be enough wire coming from the ESCs to connect with these ends. Now you will see these arms don't have the landing pads here as the 450 frame has. Here is the 450, it has a landing on the side, and I use those all the time. This one assumes you're gonna have landing gear installed. So the wiring, I mean, mounting of the engines is done. Now it's all pretty much plug and play and screwing these screws in. Really nothing special left. So I mean, you can actually get it done without my help. But I mean, keep watching. Thanks.